It is August 6th, 2021, and here I was thinking during SmackDown, well, this is a ho-hum episode. What are we going to really have to talk about tonight? But NXT talent releases breaking during SmackDown tonight. Lots of news going on in the world of wrestling. So much talk lately about the competition between AEW, WWE, WWE and NXT superstars contracts being up. Are they going to renew? What's going on with all this talent moving around? Non-compete clause is about to expire for some talent. And then tonight, these NXT releases just drop a bombshell into the pool of available talent available. So we're going to talk about SmackDown. SmackDown tonight, it was an episode. We got a while till SummerSlam. They didn't want to overdo it. We had some movement, but not much. But Alfred, let's jump into it with this NXT stuff. Give us the story. Give us the headlines and the details.
Yeah, more terrible news, really. Hashtag WWE releases is once again trending worldwide because there has been another wave of releases for NXT talent, some very big names. In all, according to Fightful and PW Insider, the list of names that have been released: Bobby Fish, Bronson Reed, Jake Atlas, Ari Sterling, Kona Reeves, Leon Ruff, Stephen Smith, Tyler Rust, Zachariah Smith, Asher Hale, Giant Zangier, and Mercedes Martinez. Big bummer. A lot of big names, as you know, on that list. I mean, even Bronson Reed, who has actually confirmed his release, was positioned as one of the bigger, maybe top 2 or 3 stars in NXT as recently as a month ago, in terms of people not only saying that he's one of the bigger stars for winning that North American title and then telling you his story, but then when he lost, people just assumed he was going to the main roster. And over the past month, weird booking, and now he's gone. Bronson Reed has actually confirmed his release, saying on Twitter, just got released from WWE. The monster is back on the loose. You don't know what you've just done. He also added AEW, Impact Wrestling, New Japan, and Ring of Honor. So some big names being cut loose from NXT as WWE continues. I mean, we saw Bray Wyatt get released. We've seen now Braun Strowman and Malachi Black, who, as he's now known in AEW, get released. And this is another waiver release with some big names, this time in NXT. So, Issa, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I guess after some of the names that we've seen, nothing really feels shocking anymore, because it's like, I don't even know. Even the timing that that they did it, on a Friday night in the middle of SmackDown. I guess I'm worried for NXT and 205 Live future. I mean, the roster is gone. These are people that we either just saw on Tuesday or are advertised for 205 Live. Like, I don't know. I don't understand how a company that's worth so much, ran by a billionaire, feels like it's so chaotic at the moment. Something just doesn't click. You know what I mean? Like, even if you're going to do all these releases just to budget cut or whatever, shouldn't it just happen at once? The fact that every week it just feels like they wake up and putting names out of a hat and releasing them. That's really what this is coming off of. Like, who are we going to release today? I don't know. It's getting old.
I mean, I haven't thought they were serious about selling the company. This makes me think it's another step closer. I'm going to just guesstimate over a year, this is maybe $2 million in savings, maybe 2.5 between the 13 talents. If we look at variances in pay, some of the non-TV talent and whatnot, I mean, this is saving them a decent amount of money. Why else would they be doing this? It's not like NXT. I mean, and that's what makes this surprising. NXT's been using a lot of this talent. Bronson Reed, I feel like, was one of their main stars. Mercedes Martinez, until she got injured, was being pushed. Jake Atlas has been used regularly. Leon Ruff. I mean, there's a lot there. I think, but the next thing is, look, people are saying, oh, NXT is going to be gone. I mean, they're going to cancel 205 Live first. I've thought 205 Live had a limited lifespan to begin with. I would be very shocked if that's still going 6 months from now.
Yeah, I mean, it's very tough for that show, especially 205 Live and how that works. And who knows if WWE even considered that in terms of the fact that 205 Live wouldn't have very many bodies on it. I don't know if there was much care about that. I do think that, I thought for a while now, because this is pretty much a weekly thing for us. And it is on Fridays because there's an old saying in business that when you give somebody bad news, you do it on a Friday so they don't go postal and they have the weekend to kind of cool off. But unfortunately, that's just how these businesses do it, is news dumps on Fridays. And I do think that, maybe they are gearing up for a sale. There's a number at the very least in mind of what they want their budget to be in terms of the cost that they're spending overall, and these talent costs, these front office costs they've been making, main roster costs, NXT. you name it, Performance Center. They've been cutting everything in this company to try to get down to this number. And I do think that maybe they do have a strategy, and maybe only Nick Khan and the administration and WWE knows in terms of who they're going to be cutting. But I don't think the plan is to just cut all these people at once. They're just kind of trying to go through waves of these releases to progressively get to the number that they're getting to. So there is a business element to this. You're seeing a lot of these media companies selling for a lot of money in this era. Content is king, and Reese Witherspoon just sold her company for almost $1 billion. And I guarantee you, Vince McMahon saw that. It was like, like if she can get, if this company that's really an upstart company can get $1 billion, I might be able to get 10. And, maybe they're gearing toward that. This
and
is
Vince
all
is like,
speculation.
Vince is like, and what has she done since Legally Blonde? So clearly I'm worth more. No, and look, I've been thinking about this, and again, this is conjecture. I'm not an analyst. I mean, my stock portfolio is underwater. Don't take advice from me on anything in life, except maybe what TV shows and movies to watch and foods to try. But when it comes to stocks, though, I mean, look, I think NBC Universal makes the most sense with Peacock. Like if Fox doesn't work, Fox doesn't have a streaming service. Fox, I could see maybe wanting to start one, but they're not gonna be able to get them out of the NBC Universal deal. I was just looking at the Comcast stock. It's like at $50 and change, or $58, something a share. It's comparable to WWE stock. I think NBC Universal makes the most sense to acquire them. People are speculating Disney. No, for a variety of reasons, but I think NBC Universal, in my mind, is who I'd bet money on to acquire them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
it will make the most sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. SmackDown is essentially the only product they don't own. So it would essentially be the next time the rights come up, if they can get SmackDown, you might as well buy the company, because then you're just paying leases despite owning all this company. So it'll save NBC Universal money in the long run. And by the way, Reese Witherspoon was great in Big Little Lies. That was a great show that she was on. I know
she's had a career since. I mean,
she was great on Freeway. Don't you remember Freeway with Mark Wahlberg? Yeah. Oh my God, come on. No. What was the one
that was Fear?
That was too.
And he carved. Was it
Cruel Intentions? There's a lot more than Legally Blonde to Reese Witherspoon.
I know. I love Cruel Intentions, one of my favorite films of all time. I was making fun of what Vince McMahon might say.
Right, yeah,
make it clear, reset out there.
I know.
What did Mark Wahlberg carve in his chest in Fear? I remember it was Forever, but what were their names? I can't remember. He carved like their names.
Oh my God.
Forever, and he spelled the number 4 and then EVA in his chest.
Oh my God, that movie's a classic.
Fear is a classic. Alyssa Milano was in that.
And Freeway too. I haven't seen that one in a while.
Was Kiefer Sutherland, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a good movie. Watched DC Cab last night, by the way. That is barely a film. That is just a series of scenes strung together. It was not good. It was not good at all. Stellar Justin Lopez, $9.99, saying, couldn't even focus on SmackDown. This is the worst time and era to be a WWE fan. Why should we as fans invest time and talents if we know they could be cut unexpectedly at any time now?
Yeah, that is another dynamic. As much as my heart does go out to the people who are released, probably first and foremost, you think about the people who are in WWE now and the level of names you've seen being released. I don't think anybody can feel confident in their job. You could say Roman Reigns, and maybe that's about it. I mean, even me as an observer I'm watching like Randy Orton has been on TV for a while. So now my mind is starting to go like, well, where's Randy Orton? Is he coming back? You don't know who could be next in terms of the contract, because clearly to a lot of these fans and to a lot of people watching who invest their time in the product, these are some of their favorite wrestlers. But to the front office, these are more or less contracts and numbers.
Yeah.
And this is a big number that we got to get off the books.
And it's NXT. When do they do NXT? NXT, the way it goes is we're fans, we love them, we root for them. Then they get called up to the main roster and have their careers destroyed, but at least they're making more money. Like, when do people get cut from NXT like this? Yeah. This is very, very rare, very weird. It's Z, $5 saying, so much great talent out there for other promotions to scoop up. WWE has essentially become the performance center for the competition. Jake Atlas, I think, is so much synergy, him going to AEW. Jungle Boy already tweeted a photo. The two of them came up together in the world of professional wrestling. I think he makes a ton of sense there. JJ Smith, $5 saying Comcast or Fox will own WWE the next year or so. NXT will be canceled. They're not going to cancel NXT, especially if they own it. It's on the network that they own, unless they decide that showing, Tokyo Drift for the 8 millionth time is going to make them more money on a Wednesday at 8 o'clock. There's still value. Why are the Harry Potter movies always on the USA Network? I feel like every time I flip to USA, it's a Harry Potter movie.
Yeah, I think the NBC Universal bought them or either owns them or something.
Yeah,
well, they've got actually traction at the Universal Studios.
Yes, licensed from Warner Brothers. JJ Smith, again, $5. Bad business. They're giving WWE a horrible reputation and devaluing the company. In their mind and their investors, this is just money off the books. And I was thinking about this earlier. There's probably been a lot of stuff we don't know about that's happened in, the office about people that don't get written about. Famously, Marvel Comics is like notoriously one of the cheapest work places to work forever. You have to get permission to print something in color, and you have to print something on both sides of the page because they really hate waste. For all we know, they could be doing cost-cutting measures across the board. Like, we're not going to give you a snack closet anymore. From now on, and now we have a soda machine, not a refrigerator full of sodas. They could be doing a lot of these things behind the scenes.
Yeah, and even outside of the reputation, I worry more about the morale backstage with the performers. It's like, how do you walk around when you don't know if you don't have any job security right now? I feel like anybody could go, and that can't help them as a company to have that. I don't know, maybe they're doing some kind of meetings, but the way these things are being reported doesn't really sound like these people are getting a lot of explanations about these cuts. They're just getting the same explanation as everybody else. So I just feel bad for those people walking around backstage wondering, am I next?
Yeah, and Vince, I mean, he kind of foreshadowed this in kind of a dark way during the investors meeting, and he did fuel a conspiracy theory that has been writing, that is coming up in Twitter and among fans in terms of Vince McMahon saying maybe I could supply AEW with some competition, meaning maybe as I release more and more people, AEW will be overwhelmed and sign all these people, and it's just gotten to the point where people are now speculating that he's doing it as a means to sabotage AEW. So now they have so many people that they've signed so many people that it hurts their budget, which is ridiculous to think, but that is just the level of paranoia that has been created amongst all these releases.
And this could be really good for NWA, really good for Impact, Ring of Honor. It might not be the worst thing.
Yes.
That's the thing. There's eyes on so many companies right now because of AEW and the Forbidden Door. I feel like people are paying attention to a lot of other companies outside of AEW right now. The AEW cannot sign everybody, so of course we got to think of the other options.
Yeah, and that's the benefit of AEW not being able to sign everyone, is that it provides more talent for other companies. I mean, look, especially if they're still able to work indies and NXT contracts. I forget what it was, Alfred, you might know this better than me. Like 4 or 5 years ago, I think Finn Balor was at the top. It was speculated on this list that maybe he was doing like $250,000 a year. Like, there's a relatively low ceiling compared to the main roster on NXT contracts. So I think this talent, what was it? The starting used to be like 30,000 a year. And I think women would get more because they had more, and my term, or their term, not mine, they had more upkeep when it came to being TV ready. But your average NXT developmental contract, I mean, I think these guys can make, and women could probably make more in the indies.
They likely couldn't. So, I mean, I can't remember who it was who had come out after they got released, and they had said that they were making more money on the indies than when they were with WWE, just due to the fact that you have to pay your own expenses on WWE. When you're on the indies, they fly you out, and there's a lot of negotiation that you can have in terms of not having to pay as much. But you know what? There is hope yet on the indies, because you see Zack Ryder, of all people, has become one of the hottest wrestlers in the business after his release from WWE and then that short stint of AEW, going to GCW of all places. So there are moments, because the internet is a great equalizer. You can reinvent yourself by going viral with any of these promotions, and it's going to be all up to the wrestlers and their own creativity.
Yeah, and so in NXT, these all have 30-day non-competes, correct? Not 90.
Oh, I'm not sure. I think that's case sensitive, but typically, I guess the rule of thumb is 30 days for NXT. But I don't know in terms of all these contracts that they signed.
So, way to put a downer tonight on SmackDown.
Yeah, it's a terrible down. And then one more Adam Cole update. It was reported before SmackDown that Adam Cole was flown to Tampa in order to have a high-level meeting with Vince McMahon. Earlier today, Tony Khan denied offering Adam Cole a contract, which was reported by Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter. That Tony Khan is denying, but it was reported by Fightful that Adam Cole met with Vince McMahon to, his contract's coming up this month. They did extend him, and there is talk of him possibly going to AEW, but WWE looks very serious to be making a push to keep Adam Cole. So what do you think about Adam Cole meeting with Vince McMahon, Isa?
Maybe that's why we had all the cuts, so Adam Cole can get all the NXT money. I'm kidding. Listen, you'll be stupid not to try to fight for Adam Cole, right? But at the same time, if you're looking at it from Adam Cole's perspective, you might also be stupid if you don't explore your options, I think Adam Cole is, based on things and stories that we hear, super nice guy. He could have just walked off with his contract ending and shown up somewhere else and blown up the wrestling industry, and he didn't do that. He told them. So I do think that Adam Cole has a respect and a loyalty to WWE. But I do think he should explore his options, but you'd be stupid not to offer him whatever it is that he's looking for.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I wonder how much Vince even knows about Adam Cole.
Well, I mean, it is a good sign if Vince is willing to meet with the guy. I mean, I'm sure he knows enough to know at least how valuable he would be to AEW. At the very least, the strategy in signing Adam Cole is maybe WWE foreseeing, whether it's Vince McMahon knowing or Triple H, convincing him that, hey, man, if this guy goes to the other company, he's going to explode and he could be very valuable to them. And that is something, at the very least, that WWE can play defense. But, one of the big talking points of Adam Cole going to AEW potentially is that a lot of people believe that Vince wouldn't take to him. He's not Vince's type of guy. He would never go to the main roster. But the fact that Vince is meeting with him, that might be one of the discussion items. I'm sure more is going to come out about this meeting, but it might be some assurances that not only are we going to pay you, we're going to bring you up to the main roster. And that would be something that I think for sure would keep Adam Cole in WWE.
I guarantee you it's a Triple H thing, because Triple H sees the value in him.
Oh, sure.
Vince probably got him in there and said, we've had a long relationship with your brother, Michael, and I would like to extend that by keeping
How's it going, Andy Cole? How you doing?
Yeah, exactly.
If he ends up making a boatload of money, but chasing after the 24/7 title on Raw a year from now.
God.
But it's not guaranteed. I mean, with the downside, whatever your downside is, you got essentially 90 days. I mean, because they could fire you the next day, pay you for 3 months, and that's it.
Sure, and he's got to protect himself from that. Adam Cole has some leverage because this is a unique situation where his contract lapsed, and if he leaves, could show up on AEW TV very soon. They're working together on kind of a handshake thing to extend him through SummerSlam. So in making negotiations, he better be saying, I want this much guaranteed money. I want a no-cut contract or something that will assure that after signing him, they won't cut him like they've done with a lot of people lately.
Wonder who's managing him. Is he a Barry Bloom guy? I
don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah, he's got to get guaranteed money. There's no way. I mean, he's got to get that was the thing, but they don't do that anymore. I mean, WCW was doing that, and look how expensive that was, giving guys essentially no cancel contracts. So we got a couple other super chats here. JJ Smith, $2 saying PW Insider says NXT is getting repackaged. I mean, which is weird. I mean, I don't feel like the problem. Yeah, but the problem with NXT isn't the talent; it's not the storytelling. I mean, I think if anything, it's that they've got too many guys that just blend together, and it's weird to me is that's not who was released. You know what I mean?
I would say Bobby Fish is one of those guys that kind of blends with,
sure,
whether it's Kyle O'Reilly or Roderick Strong.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not glad he's released, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that I guess
he's probably the most forgettable member of Undisputed Era.
Right, but he was an integral part to the whole group. It's just it was tough for him on his own. Not all his fault, but he really wasn't given much in terms of once he was turned loose.
It's true. Tina Miller, $5, saying, I know Asher Hale, poor guy, just sold his house in Augusta and moved his family to Tampa a month ago. Wow.
Oof.
That's tough.
It's weird, man. It's all weird. This is all weird. This makes me not feel good about supporting WWE. I want to support the talent. I like the talent. Just, man, it's just tough. It's tough to root for this company, right?
I mean, I see it from both ways.
Sure.
It really sucks from the human element. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to be cold about this or anything, but I mean, maybe it's because I spend so much time looking at the business. This is a lot of these are executive decisions that there's a directive of something. I don't know. People are speculating a sale, but there is a directive in terms of the stock price is the most important thing to WWE right now, and they're doing everything they can to get down there. And this is one of the, in their eyes, necessary evils in getting there. It's weird to say it's a necessary evil because they're making more money than ever, but the way a billionaire thinks is when they make money, they want to make more. They want to double and triple that money. They don't necessarily, it's not a benevolent thing to be a billionaire, unfortunately, in this country.
There's a really good movie. I think it's streaming now. It's like Michael Moore's least known film called The Big One from the mid-90s. And he wrote it all about corporate profits. How much is enough? Right. At what point do we say, we're making a fine living, our stockholders are getting paid? When do we stop cutting costs and ruining lives in the name of the bottom line? It's a very, very good movie. Even if you don't like Michael Moore, I highly recommend this movie. It's not so much political as it is talking about corporate hierarchy. And our country's only gotten significantly worse in the last 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
highly recommend that. It's called The Big One, which in the movie, that's his joke of he wants to rebrand America and say America should rename itself as The Big One and change its national anthem to We Will Rock You.
Right.
Michael Moore is very funny.
It's very funny.
Yeah.
It's very funny.
I've seen most of his documentary. I don't think I've seen that one.
It's very good. It's about his book tour.
It's really good.
Yeah, he goes around, tours plants. He talks to people who've been laid off. Like it's really interesting. I think it was a real eye opener to me when it first came out in the mid '90s. So we've got some other news.
Yeah, let's just run through these last couple of stories. Pete Dunne, according to, I believe it was Fightful, he's a free agent. According to Fightful Select, he's going to be a free agent. It's expected that his contract expiring toward the end of August. So that's another name to keep out on. And then let's end on some pretty good news in that WWE NXT Takeover 36 is now reportedly being discussed for Las Vegas. This is something that we've talked about on the NXT podcast, looking at this lineup building, that it's a very, really stacked lineup. And so hopefully they're going to be able to have a bigger crowd for this pay-per-view for NXT Takeover 36.
Seems very last minute of a decision to make, especially with everything going on right now. But at the same time, I do think that takeovers should take place elsewhere, especially if they're going to keep the CWC. I think that's hurting them, when it comes to takeovers. So, I mean, you have a bunch of people traveling to Vegas for it. It just seems like the timing right now is odd, especially with everything going on with, COVID cases and all of that. It feels like that's something that should have been decided ahead of time. But if there's a place that has plenty of arenas and places that are open that you could rent out last minute, it's Vegas.
Right.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. There have been stories, people have been reporting and speculating. Plan is still for SummerSlam to go through as expected, even though WWE recognizes the rumors. They recognize they might have to stop having live events in person for a short while, sometime in the near future.
Oh man, that'd be horrible.
Yes, it would. Get vaccinated.
Thunderdome, imagine.
Get a vaccine, everyone. Trust me, you're helping to save professional wrestling. Seriously. At that point, I mean,
great reason for a lot of these people.
I know people that work in the event industry and like touring industry, like that do sound and work in production. And I've been looking at their Facebook pages lately, and they're just going on like it's coming. They're saying people are already postponing tour dates, talking about canceling tours. Like if we do not turn this around, we're going to be back where we were a year ago. And that's
I'm going to a couple of. I'm playing a couple of events that I'm going to in the future, and I've already started to get those emails like, "Hey, in case we release or in case we don't do this, we might." So that's not good.
Yeah, seriously. So and some people think about it like, "Oh, I don't want vaccine. It's going to rewrite your DNA." I came up with this analogy today while I was playing Fortnite, where it's like in Fortnite when you drink the shield potion. Like, it's just giving you 100 extra hit points when people shoot at you. It's just giving you that buffer before you actually start getting hurt. Right. Just think of it like that. It's just your shield potion against COVID.
That's what they call it. That's what they should call it, not the vaccine. That's become a dirty word to some people. Call it the shield potion.
Oh, my God. I did the Rift event today, watching that Ariana Grande. Did this weird, Dreamscape concert thing in Fortnite. It was very strange. Very strange. They're replaying it a few times over the weekend. I recommend checking it out. You get, a fuzzy pink umbrella with, teddy bear ears if you attend the event. So there's that. Why am I still playing Fortnite? Okay, so we have to talk about SmackDown. Did you guys watch the Suicide Squad yet?
No, I've heard great things. I'm definitely watching it this weekend.
We'll save that for Tuesday. But I recommend everyone watch it. The role John Cena was born to play. 30 Undertaker 3135 $5. How does this affect Adam Cole re-signing with NXT? If Adam Cole leaves NXT, who do they have to market on NXT? Is Adam Cole? I don't know. I don't think Adam Cole is the big bright shining star of NXT because I just feel like he's done everything.
Yeah. Twice, 3 times. I mean, he's been there for a long time, and that's why part of why I think Vince McMahon is the one meeting with them. Maybe there is a plan if he is to resign to go to the main roster. I think if Adam Cole resigns with NXT and the deal is to be with NXT, they might reposition him. But yeah, that is another one of those sticking points in terms of why people think Adam Cole could go to AEW is that there really is nothing left for him to do.
Yeah,
right.
Best thing for Finn Balor in NXT was leaving NXT for a while.
Yeah.
Same with Samoa Joe, right? It's just interesting. It's much more interesting when they come back. So SmackDown results. 3 people in the chat room are like, we really got to talk about SmackDown.
3 people.
It's just such a I'm sorry, but if you are a fan of WWE and SmackDown is front and center, the first thing on your mind tonight, Like, come on. It wasn't bad. It was just kind of, but it wasn't great. If they put on a burner of a show, yeah, if they put on an amazing show, it'd be like, well, despite all of this, couldn't detract from what a great show SmackDown was. And I was like, no, it was okay. They were in Tampa. Sasha, though, let's talk about Sasha. This is where it started well. This is when we were still living in a pre-release world. And everything was so nice. Sasha Banks coming out, cutting this promo on Bianca Belair. Bianca coming out and responding. Bianca coming out and saying, probably, I think, one of her best promos, because she did not babyface it tonight. She was holding her own with Sasha. And then bringing Zelina out was smart, because I think Bianca looking elevated over Zelina, really just cutting a very good promo, responding to Zelina. I think this was helping Bianca rebuild after tapping out at the end of last week's episode.
Yeah, I thought Bianca Belair looked like a badass tonight in that opening segment. The fact that she kind of told Sasha, and the fact that she was like, I'm going to take on you both. She's a fighting champion. And she rubbed on Sasha's face, hey, you're not the champion. Stay out of this conversation. All three of them looked amazing, and great representation in that ring to open the show with the, Sasha, Bianca, and Selena. It was awesome. I love seeing it. I also really enjoyed Selena's promo. I really wish she could get some wins, which apparently is impossible now. But if she could get some wins to back up the way that she talks, because we all know she's good on the mic, but it's very hard to make her believable when she's just taking all of these pins every week.
Yeah, I think after tonight, though, she doesn't want to go backstage and be like, I think I should be winning.
Yeah, you know what? You're right about that. Let me give my friend Nick a call and see if he agrees. I thought this opening segment was fantastic. I thought it was really good for such it's kind of formulaic in WWE to where we're going to open the segment and have people interrupt each other and talk. But for such a formulaic formula, they took this, and I thought it was very convincing in terms of these three women wanted to fight. I love Bianca Belair saying that Selena shouldn't even get in the ring. She just did come off like she was not the one that night. So I really liked seeing those three interact with each other. I thought this was great.
And Sasha, that outfit tonight, Sasha's making some money.
Yeah, she's the best dressed person in WWE, I think. Of all,
1,000%.
Yeah, understands her fashion and dresses like a superstar, and just it stands out without looking like a cartoon. Best dressed in WWE. Period.
When you go back to those Performing Center era episodes, Sasha came out slaying. I was like, this empty arena is not worth of this outfit that this woman's putting on every week. She's awesome. You can tell she really knows her character and what she needs to look like. If you're going to call yourself the boss, you need to come out looking like that. And she does.
And that fringe tonight on those sleeves.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Great.
It's hot. I mean, it just looked good. Normally, I'm a big Marabou fringe fan, but tonight, that style was really good. Really good. Her fringe game on point.
Great.
My wife always corrects me because I call it tassels. And she said, you mean fringe?
I call them tassels too.
Apparently it's fringe.
No. Boy, come on.
Because I'm a big fan of, I call them tassels on the boots, like how Ultimate Warrior had tassels,
Tassels versus fringe,
Yeah, fringes on the boots.
Yeah, separate things, man.
British Bulldog had great fringes. Great fringe game.
Yeah, it's all about the fringe, man. Wrestlers, take your fringe game to the next level.
Yes.
What the
fringe? Tag team champion. Okay, I like this. I like that Dominic challenged Jay to a match and Ray yelling in him backstage, what are you doing? They need to take this further with just Dominic making stupid decisions that just frustrate Ray to no end, which would be a good way to have them have inner conflict that cause them to lose the tag titles.
Yeah, and we're getting a rematch at SummerSlam, which just got announced like it was nothing, right? They were like, yeah, they're going to defend their tag titles at SummerSlam against the Mysterios. And I'm like, when did that decision get made? You just randomly announce it like it's nothing?
Yeah, I think we're pretty close to that split between Dominic and Ray. I think that's what they're setting up now in terms of Dominic saying he didn't need Ray's help and getting involved. And there is a little dissension now, it seems.
And with the Usos, those champs, though, man, why aren't they hotshotting the Street Profits for SummerSlam against the Usos?
Yeah.
Which seems like a much bigger match.
And the Street Profits look great tonight, I thought.
They
look great.
Maybe they don't want the Usos to drop the belts yet, and you can't do that to the Street Profits anymore. They can't continue to just keep getting pinned on title matches. So let's not put them in that position until you're ready to, give them the titles.
Yeah.
So Jey Uso won that match.
Of course.
And we had an Intercontinental championship match, or a contenders match, pardon me, Apollo Crews against King Shinsuke Nakamura. My wife told me tonight that she thought he was saying his name was Rick Boobs all these weeks. And I was like, that is a much better name.
Yeah.
But Rick Boobs
you
was
just told her. Should she figure that out on her own in terms of hearing
she's saying boobs? I was like, boogs. She's like, boob? I'm like, with the G, boogs.
They're starting to get over. These fans are starting to come sing along to that entrance.
Yeah, Aziz interfered. Shinsuke won by DQ. Yeah.
This Apollo Crews IC title run has been so disappointingly underwhelming. And you guys know, because we've been here and we really liked what Apollo was doing on the beginning, but it's just gone nowhere. And the same thing every week. And now with these contender matches, which is the latest trend with WWE, you gotta pin the champion 10 times to get a shot at the champion. Like they gotta change a couple of things around here. Shinsuke Nakamura is a vision in white. I just want to add that.
It does look good. Shinsuke should up his fringe game. I'll take it to the next level.
Yeah, definitely. I think, I agree with what you're saying about Apollo Crews. It's just so unfortunate because I feel like he really developed his character over the pandemic. He got more promo time. He got to talk. We got to find out who he was. And I thought he became a pretty big star in terms of in the realm of WWE compared to where he was a couple of years ago.
Right.
But he did that without a crowd. And so now that he has a crowd, they're just going right back to having him go out there and wrestle. I don't think a lot of these fans who have now attended these live events understand what's going on with Apollo Crews. And like, when did he win the Intercontinental title? Like, I don't think they've done a good job letting him kind of express his character in a live group setting.
Yeah.
Agree. I love that. That's actually an excellent point because I didn't think about that. I personally thought that his feud with Big E just went on for too long, where you completely forgot why he's this way now and what happened too, because they feuded for so long.
Yeah.
It's tough too because I feel like Shinsuke with Rick Boogs, it's so crowd friendly. Like I just feel like at SummerSlam, I can absolutely see them winning the title.
Rick Boogs and Shinsuke Nakamura, the tag titles or the Intercontinental title for
Intercontinental. I could see Shinsuke winning and having the big moment with Rick. I think the Rick Shinsuke feud though is money. When they break up, I think that could be huge.
Yeah, but way down the line, I don't want to see these guys break up.
Why are you trying to break them up?
We're trying to develop the story.
No, not this one.
Look, here's the thing. They are good together, but they are together without being together, if that makes sense. They don't have a lot of chemistry. You don't see them like talking to one another. You know what I mean? Like they are a duo without being a partnership, if that makes sense.
Honestly, you said together so many times that all I'm thinking about is that Together movie from
You plus
MTV.
me equals us.
Yes, that literally singing that in my brain.
You plus sign, me equal sign,
us.
That follow-up single they did, the hardest part of breaking up is getting back your stuff, is legitimately one of the top boy band bangers of the early 2000s.
No, do you remember their rival band and they had the single Rub One Out? That is a jam right there.
I gotta watch that. I downloaded that movie like it was on some torrent site a while ago. I've been sitting on that. I've been meaning to watch it.
I've been waiting to watch it for a long time too.
Yeah.
I need to.
I was trying to explain because a video came on. We were watching an old MTV thing, and I was explaining to my wife, I'm like, it was a parody, but then they actually started touring. Like they opened for Britney Spears. Like it's very weird. But and rest in peace, QT. But yeah, Together was awesome. They were talking about doing a reunion like a couple of years ago. I want to see that. happen.
Wow, that'd be fun.
You know, the MMC, the Mickey Mouse Club, MMC group, The Party, is doing a reunion concert in Orlando in September with like a big MMC like 30 thing. I'm bummed. I wish the travel situation was a little better because their cover of Dawkins in My Dreams was awesome. But yeah, man, that'd be cool. But so my point though with Shinsuke and Rick Boogs is it's like Rick is obviously the flavor of this equation. It is true though, now that I think about it, Chuck D, yes, Flavor would acknowledge Chuck, but how many times has Chuck ever acknowledged Flavor Flav?
Yeah, yes. They don't always need to look each other in the eye or anything.
True.
Flavor Flav's just it's the same thing. Flavor Flav's there to hype him up. You know, they're not necessarily sitting there having intellectual conversations together, but Chuck D is a revolutionary and Flavor Flav's there to say, yeah, boy, and, you know, kind of lighten the mood a little bit because it's pretty intense what Chuck D's talking about. And I think that's the effect that Rick Boogs has on Shinsuke. He's there to kind of lighten the mood.
Although we were talking about the other night with Two Live Crew, Luke was originally the hype man, then somehow took over and became the leader.
Yeah, he's a great leader.
He's a great leader. Banned in the USA is a jam.
Yeah.
So when the hype man becomes the front man, there's precedent. Yeah. It can happen.
There's the split.
Yes, there it is. And then wasn't there that kid in Another Bad Creation that all he did was like talk and announce who was going to rap next? Like he didn't actually rap. He would just like announce who was going to rap. Like, yo, Roro, you up next. Yeah. It's good. It's a good gig if you can get it, Or MC Brains on Uchi Coochie had like the guy that just like introed the song and at the end like rattled off that he got paid a lot of money just to like do voiceover on the song. So Rick Boogs is like that guy, but he plays guitar. MC Brains, Uchi Coochie's a jam. So back to the show tonight. After Aziz caused a DQ, we got the video package on the contract signing last week, how we ended up with Cena versus Roman Reigns. So Cena was in the building tonight, but not on TV?
I'm not sure. I don't know if maybe he wrestled a dark match. I don't know if I know he wasn't advertised for TV, that's for sure. And this crowd didn't seem to think so.
Yeah. I don't know. He's on top of the world, man. Suicide Squad.
Yeah, he's promoting that too. He's been all over promoting Suicide Squad. So I don't know if he would have had time to be on TV tonight.
Yeah, very strange. Tamina Stuka versus Tegan Knox. Tegan got a pretty easy win. This was good.
I mean, it's very short. They're using that tank, which is fine. I guess it's not a disqualification to shoot balls into the ring. They didn't quite. I don't know if they planned to hit Tamina with it, but they didn't hit Tamina with the ball. But it was a fun visual.
Yeah.
Good for them. I think they're getting over. What do you think of this Alfred Q versus Edge and Rollins, this promo off with Rollins on video tonight?
I thought this was fine. I thought Edge had some good line. I thought I liked Edge saying that like you had the chance to finish the job and it came back and bit you because I eliminated you from the Royal Rumble. I thought both of them were very well thought out. Seth did a good job of being kind of a smarmy heel, but he just kind of went from zero to like really angry just because Edge made some comment saying you're Edge light. And like of all things, that's what set Seth Rollins off. So I thought that was weird toward the end, but I thought they interacted very well with each other.
Issa?
Yeah, I agree. I love this segment. I think this is the match that I'm looking forward to the most at SummerSlam. I really love seeing bits and pieces of the old Seth Rollins that we love, the more serious guy, right? And the promo, the words that he was using, granted that he would start cackling, but he was saying some really good burns to Edge, and Edge was giving them right back. I loved the comparison on how much they had in common, because I do think that 2014, 2015 Seth Rollins was the ultimate opportunist. Look at his catching. Like he's literally learned from Edge. Mm-hmm. So I love the idea of Edge saying, you're just trying to do, what I did. I really cannot wait to see them go one-on-one. And I did like how they kept them apart in this kind of way. We cannot have the same brawl again this week or Seth Rollins gonna attack him from behind. The only thing that I would change is that they gotta stop saying via satellite. Like this is 2021.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
FaceTime, Skype, there's other ways to communicate. Just via satellite thing. Like, oh my god.
It's good. I feel like my influence of podcasting together. I was just about to say that. I was like, good. Now you're starting to just pick apart these little details. Yes, live via satellite.
Yeah, you are an influence. You got me over here freaking bringing up together, and now you have me. We have been doing this a while now. So
somebody asked me the other day in business to mail them a check, and I said, well, first I have to get a time machine and go back to 1997, and then bust out my checkbook, and then I can write it and drop it in the mail.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, what year is this? Like when somebody wants you to fax them something. It's like, what's going on?
I think they should go all the way with the Zoom thing too. They should should show you logging in to Seth Rollins being brought up, and then he starts talking. It's like, Seth, you're on mute. Seth, you're on mute. Come on. And he unmutes himself. All right, what was I saying? All right, here's what I was saying.
That would be awesome.
Absolutely. Jackson Counts pointing out, it's like Seth has to win this. I'm assuming Seth is going to win this.
Yeah, I don't think that's a given, but I'm assuming that Seth wins this. I mean, yeah. I think it would be huge for Seth Rollins to win this. Yes.
If he's going up against Roman, he has to win this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
So, Street Profits had a pretty easy victory over Rude and Ziggler tonight. Good to see Street Profits both back in action. And then we had a championship contenders match. We had Zelina Vega battling Bianca Belair. Bianca getting a pretty easy win here. But Sasha Banks coming out during the match. Issa, what'd you think of this?
Yeah, it was a fun match. I like seeing Sasha Banks coming out, and I like seeing that the interaction didn't have like anything to do with the finish. Bianca looked dominant, and you have to make her look dominant right now. She is your champion, and after she cut the promo that she cut earlier on in the night, I thought if they let her loose over some stupidity, I'm gonna be mad because you finally made her look, like a badass, and she can be a face and still be a badass. So I brought it up earlier and I will do it again. I feel bad for this Selena Vega return and what they're doing with her, because she's so good with promos and we need more women that can talk on the mic, but you can't believe anything that she says at this point. So
that is true. I mean, for such a very good promo that she cut at the beginning, and they even backstage kind of established that, okay, listen, you're going to get a future title shot if you win. So they even had the kind of stipulation there, and she could even win there. And I thought that was very weird that, very inconsistent with this management, that they're totally fine with you illegally signing for a championship match. But if you get the champion to verbally agree to fight you, they say, what? No, we make the decisions around here. You have to earn it around here. So I thought that was very weird, but I
will say, Alfred, to that point, I actually like that Sonya and Adam Pearce were like, because Selena Vega has no wins on her record. It's like, what do you think grants you a title match? But it's like, I guess John Cena is because of the name value, right? Because technically speaking, he didn't earn it. So, I did appreciate that, but it's a lack of, storytelling on their end, like not to Selena, but everybody else. Yeah, you're fine. That's
exactly, and that's my point. I thought this was good. This is them showing authority and fairness and structure. I just would have liked to see it when their contract signing got away from them last week.
Yeah,
right.
And this time we had Finn Balor versus Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin, we talked about this before, like rich people losing their wealth is funny, much like Schitt's Creek, Arrested Development, or Arthur 2 on the Rocks. But poor people and making fun of their poverty, not so humorous, and it felt kind of shittier tonight given those NXT cuts. I did think it was clever that like he can't even afford entrance music, but from there it was
I like that.
That's weird. Okay, so am I to understand that you have to pay for your own entrance?
You have to buy your own entrance music.
I never knew that, but we learn something new every day.
So all you SoundCloud rappers, I want you to get a Baron Corbin on Twitter and offer him some entrance music for free. Hook him up. Everybody, send your demo tapes to Baron Corbin on Twitter and offer him some free entrance music.
Maybe it's UFC that they do have to pay or get the rights to whatever song they want to come out to, if I'm not mistaken. So it does make sense, like I thought I liked it. It gave me a little pop when they said he can't afford his entrance music.
That was good, but then I was just kind of feeling bad. Then I was just feeling bad though in light of the NXT thing. It was kind of like.
It was very hard to focus on what was going on here. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it is a little weird, the juxtaposition of people losing their jobs and him not being homeless and whatnot. But I don't think those are part and parcel. It's just this guy's doing a homeless gimmick at the same time that these cuts are going on. It's an unfortunate timing.
It's actually worse what they did with Drake Maverick last year to use the COVID releases in a storyline that he was fighting to earn his job back, which I feel like that one got kind of lost in the dust. Nobody ever really investigated that and like what was real and what was kayfabe there. Like that one really flew under the radar.
Right. Well, he definitely got released. It was legitimately released. And that was legitimate in terms of him crying. That was not a whole act. I just think that it went so viral and people connected with it so much that he was just the exception to the rule where it's like, we got to bring this guy back. It's really, people have really connected with this, heartfelt promo.
And he had the 2 matches left. Right? Didn't he had a couple of matches left as well that he was supposed to finish? So
I'm a bit of a Drake Maverick truther in that regard, but if you go back and watch that video, when he takes that pause, like it's all heartfelt and I feel for him, but then when he takes a pause, like, so my next match is coming up in this tournament it was like kind of like, I understand lemon's lemonade, but it felt just a little too, Sure.
Yeah. I mean, if it was a performance, it's a hell of a performance if this whole thing was a work. And there's all this, there are people think, and I'm not saying that this maybe wasn't a work, but there are people who think that Montreal Screwjob was a work.
Sure.
And the nature of wrestling, there is such a carnyism to it that it would not be a surprise that if this whole thing was a work all along. I just, I do think he legitimately got released, but who knows?
I don't
I
know.
mean,
Yeah.
wrestling is the reason why we all got trust issues, right?
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
you trust no one, no one.
Is this marriage at work, honey?
Oh, if my wife catches me in a lie, I'll be like, that was kayfabe before when I said I was going to clean out the garage this weekend, but I'm shooting with you right now. You know? So Finn beat Baron pretty easily here, and then Roman came out, and these guys had a face-off. Issa, what'd you think of the segment?
I love that Roman said, "You keep my name out of your mouth," and it was sexy. But Finn Balor is. I'm sorry. Finn Balor is out there calling out John Cena. It didn't make any sense. Like, listen, Roman was right. He said, "I handled the situation. I'm handling it. Stay out of it." You know?
Yeah.
I think it makes perfect sense for Finn Balor to call out John Cena. I like that Finn Balor was angry about getting screwed out of his contract, so he handled Baron Corbin and even said, and John Cena's next, because John Cena was the opportunist who, despite not doing anything over the past year or so, went and signed his own name on Finn Balor's contract. So, Finn Balor should be mad. It's just the character of Finn Balor, since he's come to this main roster, has been 2 steps forward, 1 step back, in that they booked him very strongly. Coming in, he looked like a big star, and then he had the contract thing where it was swept from under his legs. Tonight, I thought was good for him in terms of him being angry, in terms of him beating Baron Corbin, looking strong, calling out Roman Reigns, saying the Finn Balor of old would have smiled through this. So now you think, okay, he's back on track, and they just beat the hell out of him, and they were chanting Cena when he was calling out Roman Reigns, and so now it gets away from him again, and it just seems like he's going to be now at that kind of mid-card level.
And the Usos attacking and beating up Finn Balor.
Yes.
Finn's got to at least get a match against Cena out of this.
Yeah. Cena or Reigns. I mean, he should get a match, or he should be considered, because he was the number 1 contender as recently as a week ago. And
he wasn't the number 1 contender. He wasn't the number 1 contender. He came out and say, "I challenge you," and Roman was like, "Sure, easy work." But that doesn't make you the number 1 contender. You know what I mean?
It does.
I guess you're right, because everybody just comes out and calls somebody out, But he was just standing there like, pew, 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 pew. Like, then the Usos came and attacked him. It was like, listen, the Usos need to be talked to, because, like, if Roman is already at the end, getting ready to go backstage, and he has to come back in to finish the job because these two can't do it, somebody needs to have a conversation with them.
Yeah.
Fernando Perez, $1.99. Wrestling is why we have trust issues. So fitting, true.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or so effing true. Yeah. I mean, it's tough to tell, right? In all of this stuff, and I don't know. This was a good, decent show. It was fine. I think the next 2 weeks are going to be hotter, just in the build to SummerSlam. Curious what
happens. Not enough Roman tonight.
I know. Issa, we all want to Smurf as Smurf. He's a very, very attractive man.
And if you have John Cena there, if he was backstage, how do you not put him on the show? I don't know.
I know. It's very weird.
I'm looking forward to the promo showdown between Cena and Reigns when they're in the ring at the same time, because they've been doing these shots like diss tracks where it's one and then the response. But I want to see them in the ring at the same time. I think that's going to be a lot of fun.
Me too.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, that's really gonna hype it. I think with Cena's gonna have a great weekend this weekend with Suicide Squad opening.
Mm-hmm.
I think, he's gold on the mic. And I could
they
see
should have let Roman said that. They should have let Roman say he's not here because he's doing his Hollywood duties right now. That would have been awesome.
Yeah, I could see him showing up Monday on Raw to further build the match on SummerSlam.
Yeah, he's scheduled for. I don't know if he's scheduled for this Raw, but I know he's scheduled for a bunch of shows. It's the Summer of Cena they're doing, so I think I don't know if this week's Raw is one of them.
Which is crazy. Like when you watch the Suicide Squad and the character he makes plays the Peacemaker, like this is so incredible that they're hyping him playing this type of character.
Yeah, like
it's really nuts in the best way possible.
Very obscure comic book character, but I'm glad he's doing such a big role, and he's very committed to it because he's been dressing up like Peacemaker everywhere he goes.
Which is crazy. You know what's funny? I think I tweeted this like 3 or 4 years ago, but I was saying that my dream casting was Cena being cast as the guy who replaces Captain America and becomes evil, which is the role that went to Wyatt Russell in Falcon and Winter Soldier. So like Peacemaker is very much the same sort of character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Like if Captain America was a psychopath. So yeah, but it was fun. We watched it last night. It was a very, very fun movie.
I'll watch it this weekend. I'm gonna watch it this weekend.
Yeah, we gotta, man. Still let down by DC Cab, man. Had such high hopes for that.
Oh, you had high hopes for that? No, I could have told you that was gonna be bad.
I mean, Mr. T was good. Mr. T's good in everything. Why
he's always good.
I just want to take a moment. Why as a society did we all turn our back on Mr. T? He was America's sweetheart for like 5 years. And then we stopped supporting him. He didn't let us down.
5 years.
We let him down.
Yeah, show business is tough, man. You're the hot thing, and then you just get phased out. But he had a great career, and he's an icon. And I loved him as Clubber Lang, one of the greatest heels in the history of any movies, wrestling, sports. Great heel, Mr. Clubber Lang.
Absolutely. No, it's fair. He released that rap song about respecting your mom.
Oh yeah, he did.
Had that special "Be Somebody or Be Somebody's Fool."
He had that great Hall of Fame speech about his mama that got cut off. And remember that speech? That was iconic. I mean, it went on a little too long, but he had that thing where he just kept talking about his mom. And it was very funny. He said he celebrates his mom on Father's Day. Remember that? He's saying all these days like Halloween. I celebrate my mom on Mother's Day, even on Father's Day. So great.
He's one of the all-time greats. And I've never heard a bad thing about him. You know, there's so many people that we grew up with where later it's like, oh, you know, maybe.
Please knock on wood. Don't jinx it.
Okay.
Knock on wood.
Fingers crossed.
Because, you know, sometimes.
Too big of a fan of his, but, you know.
Well, you know, what are you going to do?
I mean.
Sure, Mr. T wasn't a fan of some of those promos Roddy was cutting in the mid. Some of those edited out moments. Yeah. Some of that stuff didn't age so hot. Not that it should have been cool at the time, but anyhow, there we have it. Anything else we didn't cover? Have we solved enough of the world's problems for tonight?
No, yeah. Spent a lot of time talking about the releases, which kind of a downer on the night, but this is just a show. I agree. There's nothing special about the show. I wouldn't say it was bad, but I could have done without it, to be honest.
Right. It was you didn't miss anything if you didn't watch it kind of show.
Yeah. And it's interesting. This is to sort of put a little bow on this with NXT. Tonight, SmackDown, I'm looking at the numbers, and our SmackDown numbers are pretty consistent. NXT, we've actually been doing better numbers on NXT coverage lately than SmackDown coverage.
Yeah, it's interesting. It might be the sci-fi thing that people didn't find it, and so then now they're coming over here. But
maybe,
yeah, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, but NXT is. I think this is even going to be more alienating to the hardcore fan base than some of the main roster releases. Although Bray Wyatt's pretty darn cutting, man. So we'll see. And hey, now we're in a never-ending release cycle. So stay tuned to Wrestling Inc. Stay tuned to Twitter. It could happen at any moment. John Cena could be cut from the company tonight.
Oh no!
Please.
Yes. Okay.
Next Friday is next Friday the debut of Rampage.
I think it's
right.
Is it? Yes, 13th. Yes.
Okay,
so
that'll
be interesting.
It's gonna be different. Yeah, we'll see how we do on that one.
Yeah.
So crazy. So where can everyone find you on the interwebs?
NYC Demon Diva with a 1 instead of an I on Twitter, and NYC Demon Diva on YouTube. Please subscribe. I'm so close to 12,000.
Hey.
Nice. And Alfred?
At This Is Nasty on Twitter and Pro Wrestling Bits on YouTube.
Best channel on YouTube. Best channel
on wrestling right now. no, second hottest channel on wrestling right now, next to Tegan.
And I'm at Glenn Rubenstein. Give me a follow on Twitter, where I occasionally tweet about wrestling, but mostly whatever I'm watching on TV or movies or radio commercials.
You tweeted something about MTV's 40th anniversary, I believe it is.
Yeah,
that I really got into.
Oh man, so like we watched a lot of old MTV last weekend to celebrate. MTV didn't celebrate their anniversary. We celebrated.
No. Yeah.
Such a shame. Okay, everybody. Have a great weekend. We'll catch you back here on Tuesday on the Wrestling Inc. podcast. Take care.